please let me know if this is you as well. The reason you stay in an unhealthy relationship, maybe for you, it was for me, was because you didn't want to do the breakup. You didn't want to be the one to do the breakup. You felt guilty to do the breakup. You felt sorry for your partner, so you didn't do the breakup. And that was huge for me. I never wanted to hurt any of my partner's feelings. So I would usually just stay in a relationship for ages to avoid that. And I would instead just hurt myself by staying in that relationship, which sucked.
This is episode 102. I am so happy that you're here, and thank you for joining my show, your coach, Helen Yuskovic. I am on a worldwide mission to help people get confident in putting themselves first, because I used to put myself second my whole life. And because of that, I experienced every unhealthy relationship possible. An unhealthy relationship with myself, my health, my wealth, my intimate relationships, my family, my friends, and my career. I'm now living in an abundance that I used to just dream about. So I want to pave the way for you too. It's time, guys. It's time that you live in the life of your dreams as well. So let's take a step towards that right now. P.S. Subscribe to my podcast on your app now so that you always tune in to my new episodes.
Why, oh, why do we choose unhealthy relationships? Why do we stay in unhealthy relationships? I am Queen Unhealthy Relationships. So today's episode is on 4 reasons why you choose to stay in unhealthy relationships, maybe why you attract unhealthy relationships, and all of that jazz. Because, in my life, as you'll hear in my voice note, I haven't ever had a relationship that I would call healthy. Isn't that terrible? So I have definitely not gotten into another relationship until I figure it out. And I am going to share with you 4 of the reasons that I've discovered that I chose unhealthy relationships. And number 1 was that I wasn't in alignment with my values. I actually didn't even know that we had relationship values. I didn't even know that that was a thing. I only, once I started doing deep inner work and self-healing and working with coaches and all of that sort of stuff, did I discover that, there's certain criteria that a relationship should meet. And if your values and your partner's values don't align, then at some point there might be a clash. And what happens is when I get into a relationship, usually my rose-colored glasses are on, and maybe you can relate to me. It's like you sort of dismiss anything that might be a red flag or a warning sign or a little knock on your door saying, hey, here is a behavior or an attitude that your partner has. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to keep it or are you going to do something about it? So learning what the values are that you have that are so important to you in a relationship are crucial. And the reason you might stay in an unhealthy relationship or attract an unhealthy one is because 1, you might be like me and you didn't even know that you had values in a relationship that were really important to you, or you might have compromised on your values. So say, for example, let's use trust. Let's say your trust was broken, and trust is a really important, hello birdie, and trust was a really important value for you. If your trust was broken and you stay in that relationship and then that relationship turns sour, it might be because you compromise on your values and now you're in a relationship where there isn't trust. So that will cause an unhealthy dynamic. I hope that makes sense. And the best way to figure out what the values are in your relationship is just to ask yourself, what is important to me in a relationship? And then list those things off and then see what's important to your partner in a relationship if you're in a relationship. And then see, we have that in common. Oh, wow, we don't have that in common. And then it's a really great tool to use to make sure that everyone is in alignment with the same same values, and if not, at least there is a value there of respect. Number two, the second reason that I found I was in unhealthy relationships and calling those in was because part of me needed healing. And so my wound was attracting someone else's wound, and together we created an unhealthy dynamic. I laugh now because I've done so much deep healing work, but it's so helpful and it just makes so much sense. Sometimes you can't see things clearly if you're not full and whole. And sometimes, if you're like me, you try to see the good in everybody and you sort of dismiss any bad. And sometimes you just always try to help, or you always try to fix or improve someone. But no, I became a coach for that reason. And if someone needs that, they can pay me for it. I'm not ever going to go into a relationship where I feel like I need to fix, change, or improve someone. My job is literally just to love that person. And if you resonate with this and you're always trying to fix, change, or improve your partner, then please stop. Your job is to just love them. Love them as they are. And if you don't agree with something that they're doing, or if you don't agree with their values or the way that they live life, then you've got to reassess the relationship and then do some deep work as a couple to try to figure that out and navigate through that. If you're single like me, this is great, because when you get into a relationship, if you ever get into a relationship and you have worked on your growth and your healing, then it's going to be much more simple when you just have someone by your side and you just have someone to enjoy and do life with. And it takes a whole lot of pressure off, and it makes it for a really beautiful, healthy dynamic. The third reason that you may choose unhealthy relationships is a fear of being alone, and that fear can stem from society. I come from a Greek family, well, half, but they sort of take over, and the pressure in this sort of family is terrible. It's so terrible. Like, my aunties believe that if you're not in a relationship or if you don't have kids, like at my age, you're a failure in some way, or they feel sorry for you in some way. So they talk about you behind your back to like other cousins and other aunties, and like, Helen still isn't in a relationship. She still hasn't got kids. Oh, it's such a shame. She's such a beautiful girl. And it's just like, I don't need to be in a relationship. And I look at them all and they're all not people that I would want to be. Like, they're not, and they're not even in a relationship that I would want to be in. So it's just bizarre. So if you're in one of these families and you get this pressure, look at the people that are making you feel the pressure or talking about you. Look at their relationship and really assess and think, like, is this a relationship that you want? And if not, then disregard their advice completely. Always have a role model when it comes to relationships. And always look up to people and to relationships that you want, because it is possible for you if you really want it. So when it comes to the fear of being alone, it takes a little bit of courage and it can be a lonely road, but it's really important to have some sort of support network, or if you don't, work with a coach or mentors or someone that can be there for you as your support system. You can actually do everything alone nowadays, which is amazing and exciting. So a shout out to the rest of you that are listening, that are single and feel societal pressure to be in a relationship. Relationships. You do not need to be in one at all, ever, if you're happy. And you know what I find? I coach a lot of people in their 50s, and I find that if they've had kids and they're divorced, right, the last thing that they want is a relationship. So I was just speaking to a lady today and she was like, I don't want a man. I've got kids. I don't need a man. And lots of my friends that have children and are unhappily married, the last thing that they want now is a man, which makes sense, especially if you've been with someone for a long time. So if you're a late bloomer like me, then the good thing is that when we get into a relationship later in life, they'll maintain for the rest of, hopefully, your life, because you haven't been together for that long. So the later you get together, the longer you stay together. And I actually spoke to a lady today and their relationship was in the woodworks because, they got together when they were 18 and they have a 4-year-old child and they're 25 years old. And, they're just in a really, really unhappy place. And, their whole world's changed and they were so young. And I just completely relate to the reason why they're feeling so shit. And I told her, that this happened when you were so young. So if you're not prepared for that, then there's definitely going to be a few challenges along the way. It's like kids. If you don't prepare for that well, then you're going to face some challenges along the way. So yeah, I'm one of those people that loves being prepared. So yeah, get ready for an episode coming up on my egg freezing process. I'm just getting all of the information together. So if you do have questions about egg freezing, feel free to put them on my Instagram. Now, number 4. This was huge for me. The 4th reason that I was staying in an unhealthy relationship was because I was holding on to hope that it would change. So my ex, for example, he was a pothead and he smoked weed a lot. And every year, every New Year's, he would be, it's funny now, he would be like, babe, I'm going to give up weed this year. And I was like, yes, this is great. We're going to be healthy. And then, yeah, that didn't last. And then the next year at New Year's, it would be the same. He'd be like, babe, I'm going to give up weed this year for sure. And I was like, yes, this is going to be great. And he did that for about 8 years. And then I realized this isn't really going to happen at all. This isn't going to happen at all. And I just realized that there's a 5th point that I stay in unhealthy relationships. So let me write that down because that literally just came to my head. So holding on to hope that it will change. So the first 6 months to a year of our relationship, for example, was magic. It was amazing. Had a beautiful time, rose-colored glasses, all of that sort of stuff. And sometimes you cling on to the hope that the relationship will go back to what it once was. No, it doesn't do that, unfortunately. So that might be a reason you're staying in an unhealthy relationship. Say that 10 times really fast. In an unhealthy relationship, because once it might have completed you and it might have been exactly what you wanted. And all of a sudden it's not. And you might have both gotten too comfortable in a relationship. I have 2 beautiful cheat sheets on saving a relationship and also the single saver cheat sheet. So if you'd like those, I'll put them in the link for you on the show notes. So go and grab yourself a free copy of the relationship saver documents and the single saver docs. And you'll see just how simple it is to keep your relationship with your partner or with yourself healthy. And in those documents is some really beautiful guides as to what to do every single day. Now, number 5, which just came to me, this is so full on. Please let me know if this is you as well. But the reason you stay in an unhealthy relationship, maybe for you, it was for me, was because you didn't want to do the breakup. You didn't want to be the one to do the breakup. You felt guilty to do the breakup. You felt sorry for your partner, so you didn't do the breakup. And that was huge for me. I never wanted to hurt any of my partner's feelings. So I would usually just stay in a relationship for ages to avoid that. And I would instead just hurt myself by staying in that relationship, which sucked. So interesting. I'm having an epiphany live on air. So nowadays, I just want to make sure that, I feel comfortable with boundaries. I feel comfortable with being able to assert my boundaries, enforce my boundaries. If something isn't serving me, just to communicate that. And if it hurts someone else's feelings, then so be it. I have a lot of discussions with my best friend. And it's learning to put myself first was really big, really hard, because I grew up watching my mother always put herself second. So it's just such deep conditioning inside me that constantly needs healing. It constantly needs attention and it constantly needs awareness and mindfulness. So those are the 5 tips. Was 4, just became 5. So I'll just do a little recap. 1, you don't know your values, or you aren't in alignment with your values, or you've compromised on your values. Number 2, a part of you needs healing. So that wounded part of you is probably attracting a wounded part of someone else. And then voila, that creates an unhealthy dynamic. Number 3, you have a fear. It might be a fear of being alone. It might be pressure that you feel. Number 4, you're holding on to hope that it will change. Number 5, you don't want to do the breakup. All right, here's my voice note, guys. Let me know how you feel after this episode and if you resonate with anything on my Instagram. Bye.
I have only ever had unhealthy relationships. It just dawned on me that I have never had a healthy relationship. And this is my struggle at the moment with putting myself out there, because that means that a part of me is unhealthy. And that part of me is attracting unhealthy relationships. It's really important to figure out, the common denominator when it comes to things like relationship problems that you're having. And, I just sat here and I was reflecting as I was driving, thinking, I'm the common denominator. Wow. Which is a little bit exciting for someone like me, because I love personal growth and I love going deep into the reasoning behind what I manifest. And so I've been very protective over anything to do with relationships after my ex, because I couldn't trust myself, because I knew that if I hadn't put any work in to heal or to grow or to personally develop in this area, then I was just going to walk into another unhealthy relationship. And, part of this is because of conditioning and the relationships that we witness as children. Because as children, what we witness as a solid relationship is what we sort of attract as we get older. And, I saw growing up a mother that was not in love, however, stayed with a man because it was the right thing to do. So I learned loyalty. Now, I didn't understand that can be unhealthy if you're missing a lot of pieces in a relationship. And as I'm speaking, I'm getting so many epiphanies in my brain, and that's why I suggest that you too always reflect on things. And another thing that I witnessed is that you should suffer for a relationship, and I manifest that. And it's not my fault. It's because my inner child believes that's what a relationship is, and that's the only sort of relationship she knows. So a lot of inner child healing work seems to be the avenue that I need to follow, and just to remind my little girl that I've got you, I will protect you, and we are absolutely deserving of a healthy relationship. And so I'll do some manifestation work once I have the time this week on manifesting the relationship that I want, the relationship that I want to have for the rest of my life. Hope this information helps.
Thank you times infinity for spending time with me. It really means a lot. Putting yourself first will really help escalate your goals, your dreams, and I love being on the journey with you. So make sure you come and tell me on my Instagram at Whole Health, which is HOL_health, and comment below this podcast photo to share your thoughts on my show today. And if you enjoyed it, please leave me a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify so that I can keep bringing amazing value to you. I'm sending you truckloads of love, power, and joy. Bye for now.